Hey Flosstube, it's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I'm back this weekend with a little haul, some purchases, my current work in progress, a few past finishes, and a gift. So I'm going to jump right in. Yesterday, Natasha Stitcherella and I were able to attend a stitch. It was about an hour and a half from me, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. I left the house around 7:30 in the morning and drove up to meet Natasha, and we drove into the stitch, and we spent the majority of the day there. I met a lot of stitchers I've heard Natasha talk about, but I had not had the opportunity to meet several of them. Several of them I have either seen online, or I have been around them in other stitches, but I did get a chance to meet Angela. Hi Angela. We had a great time. She sat with Natasha and I at the table when we stitched, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. So that was great. It's always great to meet new stitchers or new friends, and I hope to stitch with all of them again soon. I wasn't able. There's several things now I want. There was some stitches. That's the best part about stitches. You get to see everyone's works, their current works, and I am normally inspired by that. Because when I buy, usually when you buy patterns, we all know that the pictures are often not true to color. And so when you see it in real life, you see someone stitching it, it totally changes it for me. And things that I would normally turn my nose up at, or I wouldn't give a second glance, all of a sudden I want to buy them. Haven't bought them yet, but I'm assuming I will be putting them in my wish list, in these items in my wish list the next couple of days. Be forewarned, I think I had too much coffee this morning. I'm a little jittery, talking a little fast, and my mouth is running a little quicker than my mind, so forgive me if I have to repeat myself to get my words out correctly. This week, I'm trying to finish up some things. Last year I didn't get a lot of things finished. I finished things but did not fully finish them. So I'm trying to do much better this year. And this is actually a finish from, I believe it was 2010 or 2011. Some friends and I attended the Silver Needle Retreat in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which if you've never been to one of those retreats, it is worth it. It's worth the cost. It's worth, Lindy does a wonderful job putting these things together. She is a great hostess. I would definitely go back again. But this particular one, Barb and Alma of Blackbird Designs were there. And I can't, all I've got is the pattern. I will show, well, I do have this. This is how it was kitted. And they just have such a great eye for detail. So this was the project, and I know that it's been released in some of their, I want to say it's in the booklet, not in a pattern form, but in one of the booklets. But these are the two class pieces. But they put them into old sheet music. They made envelopes to put our patterns in. So I have the patterns here in this bag, but I kept this. I finished both of the items stitch-wise, but only had one of them finished, and that was the needle book, and this is it. So I finished this up in, let me see if I have the date on it. No, actually I don't. I hate that I don't. But this is the needle book, and I had someone else finish it for me at the time because I didn't have a sewing machine, and I had no confidence to finish it. But I'm going to open it up, and this is the stitched part. And this is the part for your needles and your scissors. Just a little notions pouch. I love the fabrics. They're beautiful. Browns and pinks are just gorgeous together. There it is. And the needle cushion, I did not finish up. And so I pulled that out today. And I went ahead and ironed it up. And the interfacing that was in the kit, I went ahead and ironed that on and cut the template out of, you cut the template out of freezer paper to finish it into, as you can see in the picture, it's finished into a little oval box. And we had finished that up at the retreat. So it's a paper mache box that we painted, we distressed with sandpaper, and then we waxed with brie wax. So I won't even need this lid. But this is going to be one of the things I'm going to do this week. I'm going to fully finish this so that I can display this with the Needle Notions book all together. And it'd be great to have that finished. Then I can file that away and get that out of the pile over there. Am I the only one that has those piles of unfinished things? Love the process of stitching. Finishing is not as exciting for me. Once it's done, I'm awfully happy with it. But it's sitting down and taking the time to do it. So I got started on that this morning. Also, I looked back on my previous video, I think it was like March or April, because there were several months that I did not do the videos, and I never showed my fully finished Sally Spencer sampler. This was started last year. Lynette, Homesteading on the Home Front, and I went in, and I believe there were a few others that went in with us, and we decided to stitch along on this piece. And I stitched it on 36 count Sahara, and it's one of the printed fabrics, so it is modeled on this side, but this side is solid, as you can see. And what I did is I added, several of you had the idea to add the initials of the different ones that stitched along. And I have them in here, but unfortunately I've forgotten some of the names because I didn't use the actual names. I used the Flosstube names, like this is Bendy Stitchy, and this is Donna Ray, and this is the Striped Rose, Lynette, Homesteading on the Home Front, LH. No, I have Lynette's actual initials, and this is Leslie Hurley. And down here I knew was Socks for Mom, but there were several I couldn't remember who they were. So some I used the actual initials and some I used the Flosstube initials, but this is so beautiful. I love it. I find sometimes when I'm stitching something, I guess it's because I'm looking at it every day and it loses some of its beauty to me. And then if I put it away and work on something else, when I come back, I see the beauty again. I rediscover the beauty. And so with this one, it was another one I just really wanted to get finished. I wanted to knock it out. And it had lost its beauty to me. And I put it up in the little pile that I have my finishes on. And now that I've picked it back up and I've ironed it this morning, I've rediscovered the beauty of it. So I really like this. So those are my two previous finishes. And I'm going to go back to the stitch yesterday. The lady that held the stitch, her husband did a little trivia game with us, and I was one of the winners, so he had a little box of little treats and gifts that we could choose from for the winnings of getting the answers right in the trivia game. So I got a couple of little charms. I really like this one, this jack-o'-lantern. And I got these pins, the Unemployed Philosophers Guild, and this is Poe and the Raven. I really like those. So I got those yesterday. What am I going to jump into next? Let me jump into my purchases. So a week before last, I started in a new office. I moved offices, and I'm much closer to home. I had an hour and 20-minute commute one way every day. It's been 4 years. That commute got really old. So an opening come up. It put me closer to home. It put me closer to my dad. It put me closer to... I just gained hours in my day, and I'm much. It's been a boost of joy to have those extra hours in my day. But, and making that office my home and getting it in order and getting it organized like I need it to be organized, I decided there's a window in my office that at certain times of the day the light shines right in on me. So I picked up some fabric. And for those that know what I do for a living, this is perfect for me. So I picked up this fabric to do a valance for that window yesterday. And I actually had a different one in mind in the past. I've seen some fabric. I actually have some over here on my cork board, and it's letters and airmail envelopes and that thing. And this is just postmarks and stamps, but I really like it. I really like it. So I will be working on that this week or next week. And you know, you can't go in Joann's for one item. You know, you got to come out with a bag that, you know, costs $50. So I shared with all of you in the last few videos, I have been doing dish rags. And the last ones I did were for Jacob, and I had a little left over. But I'm in there looking, and that same yarn line has a type of yarn called Scrub Off. So sugar and cream, Scrub Off. And you can see there's this yarn here would be great for scrubbing. I haven't made any for myself yet. So I picked up these 2 colors of yarn that should give me 4 solids and 1 that I'll have to use the remnants of both balls in. But I'm going to make myself a few dishcloths out of this. Really love this one. So I bought that. And I got more yarn to do 1 more basket for a friend as a gift. So I had this. And then I had some haul. Some stitch haul. So it's July. It's still July. And being the patriotic Yankee Doodle Dandy that I am, I bought this. And where's the other one? I bought this. This is Liberty Sand by Lizzie Kate. And I bought the fabric to do that on as well. I bought 32 count Pearl Gray Belfast. I think it'll look great on there. And it was so funny because the lady's home, the lady that hosted the stitch yesterday, had both of these pieces stitched up. This one was not fully finished, but the other piece, the Uncle Sam, was finished up and displayed in her home for 4th of July, and I loved it. This purchase was inspired by Jen of Jen's Stitchy Niche. She had this finished up in one of her latest videos, and she had it fully finished with Uncle Sam's hat, all the bells and whistles. It was amazing. So I had to purchase this. And then I purchased Maria Selby Humphrey. I purchased this along with the hats off to Uncle Sam. You know, no chart can travel alone, so I got this and Uncle Sam's hat at the same time from Jen's Stitchy Niche. And from Teresa Kitten Stitcher, I bought the most recent edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, as well as this one. Now this one, I remember back when blogs were all the rage. This one, I saw it. I don't even remember who the stitcher was that had a blog that had stitched this, and I loved it. It was at the on the heading of her blog for some time, and I couldn't find it. And at some point this week, or it was last week, it popped up on Instagram that someone had stitched it, and I had to search a little bit to find the name of the sampler. So I went out and bought it. I found it on Teresa Kitten Stitcher's site. Isabella Johnstone sampler, and it's by Needlework Press. Who doesn't love a red spotted cow? It doesn't have the reproduction. This is the original, as you can tell, but it's a beautiful piece, and I look forward to stitching this one. And my work in progress. Last week I picked up a 2018 Mania start and started working on it again, and it is Words of Praise sampler. This is it. It came as a kit, and I'm about 1/3 of the way done. This is stitched on 25 count. I'm not sure. Let me look again. It is a larger count than I'm used to stitching on. Let's see. 25 count imported linen. It just says imported linen. Doesn't give the brand of linen. So the weave is much larger than what I'm used to. I have to really watch my tension because I'm easily distorting. So I'm having to tug on my threads a little bit in certain spots because to release them because I've just pulled them too tight. But I went ahead and dated it, as you can see there on the top, which means I've got to finish it. So the lady it was already kitted up. Someone bought the kit. Someone had plans to stitch it and had not put a stitch in it. She had written all the information in her handwriting on the thread card. Now I've pulled them on and popped off and put them on bobbins. But as you can see, she's written all the colors, the symbols on the thread card where the colors were, thread colors. As well as she's made notes on the pattern, which I can't show you because I can't show you the pattern. But one of them is that she wanted to use metallic threads in the crosses and in the crown. Now, I did not care to use the metallic thread, but what I did do, pardon me, just a second, is instead of using metallic thread, I pulled out, this is 002V blending filament. And so it still has a tiny sheen to it, but not yet metallic. There's more crosses that has it in it. And so for me it's subtle. It has that shine, but it's a subtle shine. Now, it's been a while since I've used the blending filament. And I decided to use some tips and tricks that I have heard here on Flosstube. And one of them is, if I can find it, there it is. Can you see? Let me get something dark. Let's see if that'll work. No, it's not going to work. I need something solid. Excuse me. This may work. Okay. Yeah. See this right here? This is the filament. And these two other tiny pieces here and here are like a very fine, it's not thread, but it's something to stabilize that filament. It's like, to me, it's like very fine fishing line. Now, the tips that I've heard is to stitch with this makes it easier if you pull that out. Like you cut a length and you pull those little fine pieces out. Because as you stitch, as you can probably maybe see here, I need to put it back on that black. As I pull it taut, you see how you can see that white? As I stitch with it, there's places where it would bunch up, and then it would give a whisper look to that specific stitch that it bunched up on. So I attempted pulling it out like I'd heard about, and I didn't like that either. Because the whole reason it's there is to keep this straight as you stitch with it. When you pull that white piece out, that fishing line, fine fishing line, what ends up is this twists up on itself and then knots because it's metallic. It's like if you were to take a fine ribbon and run your finger along right here for a present and it bunches back up and curls. This does the same thing. So to me it's kind of apples and oranges whether you pull it out to stitch with it or you leave it in and stitch. Either one creates its own issue. So in case any of you have ever tried that before, I thought I'd pass that along because it's the first time I've attempted to work with that, and I ended up deciding it's easier for me to leave it in, and then if the filament, the white whispery type stuff that stabilizes the filament bunches up, I just use my tweezers and try to trim it out. So there's that. Then yesterday, again, I was with Natasha, and I had been teasing her for several months about my inheritance piece. She's been working on a piece almost the entire time I've known her. And I love the colors in it. I think it's beautiful. it was my way, teasing her about it was prompting her to stitch it. Well, she picked it up this year and decided this was the year she wanted to finish it. And when I got there yesterday to her home, she gifted it to me. I have never had a friend gift me, I've had friends gift me pieces. But this is a huge piece, and it's one she's stitched on for years, and it's got a lot of sentimental value. It's got a lot of laughs stitched in it, and it's all about friendship. It's all about friendship. So I got it home today, and I believe this is a heartstring samplery. Natasha, correct me if I'm wrong. When I got it, it didn't have her initials on it, so while we were stitching yesterday, I said, you've got to put your initials on it. I don't want, if anything were to happen to me and this were left here with my children, I want them to realize a friend stitched this for me. So she put her initials in it on the bottom there yesterday. But isn't this beautiful? Look at those browns, those pinks, those olives. Those are some of my favorite colors. And this is the Hannah Meads sampler. Natasha, I'm going to tell you again, thank you, girl. Love you. Okay, what else? Oh, earlier this morning I did a quick tutorial, and it was on this needle box. I finished one up this week, or this one, and I've got a few more to finish up as gifts. But I thought you all may want to know how to do them. So it's just an unfinished wood box. The tutorial's already posted. All the supplies you need to finish it are linked below, so you can, if you don't want to leave your house, you can order them online. You may have some of the items already in your home from finishing other things. But I think it's just a great little finish. Let me see if I can get my scissors. They fit your embroidery scissors nicely in there. This is a little pin cushion. You've got a magnetic strip there that'll hold your needles. And you can adjust the height of the needle case, because you do have a little extra compartment that it can press up into if needed. I just chose to keep it kind of flush. But anyway, know that tutorial's there, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're interested. But this is my little finish, and I really love it. It's great for going on stitch trips with to keep everything together. But other than that, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you have a great week. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for leaving comments. I try to answer them. And if I don't answer you, it's not that I've not read it. Just know that I do my best to answer those videos, because answer the comments, because I love receiving them. So once again, thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, thanks for subscribing, and until next week, hugs and stitches. See you soon. Bye.